Okay, Simon, off to you.
Okay. Thank you all for joining today's meeting. I will call the meeting to order here at 12:34. Okay, and I will do the roll call moving forward at this time. Jeffrey McCullough,
Present.
David Block, Elena Miller Cooley, Harrison Top, Nick Trainer,
Here.
Catherine Bedell,
Here.
Colleen Pepler,
Here.
Nick Trainer.
Here again.
Okay, gotcha. Did I
And
miss
so-
anybody?
Sorry, Simon. We just need Roberto Meza.
Okay, Roberto Mesa. And he might be joining later. Okay. We'll move on to the approval of the meeting agenda.
Oh, sorry, Simon. Let's go ahead and introduce the interpreter. That's okay.
Yes. If you can provide a brief introduction.
Yeah, of course. Hey, everyone. I'm Diego Ponce here with my colleague Alejandra Arrieta. We're here with the CLC. As always, you'll see that globe icon that's going to appear there in the bottom right-hand corner. When I finish giving the instructions in both languages, you'll select that globe icon and you'll choose your preferred language. And if you happen to be joining today's meeting on your cell phone or tablet, you'll be looking for the more button or the three dots button in order to select your preferred language this other way. So as always, if you're not fully bilingual, we strongly encourage you to select that globe icon and to choose your preferred language so you can listen to the interpretation in case anyone speaks in the opposite language. If you have any questions, please let us know through the chat.
Not hearing you, Diego, right now.
How about now? Diego? I may have started the interpretation early. I'm sorry about that. Let me see if I can undo that really quick. How about now, Diego? Diego?
And he just chatted that they think we can just get started, Amara.
Okay, I'm sorry. I clicked that a little too soon. Sorry about that. Are we good?
I think so. We'll continue on here. Okay. And I want to thank you all for joining today's Ag Commission meeting. We will do our best to facilitate a smooth meeting with public participation. We did the Spanish interpreters, so we'll move on. Today's meeting is being recorded and can be viewed online at CDA's YouTube channel. The public can join today's Ag meeting through the Zoom webinar. And I'd like to move forward now into the approval of the meeting agenda.
This is Catherine. I move that we approve today's meeting agenda.
Okay, motion made by Catherine. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Second made by Jeff. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Okay, all opposed, same sign. Seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you. Next thing on the is the approval of the November meeting minutes.
This is Colleen. I move that we approve the November meeting minutes.
Okay, motion made by Colleen. Do I have a second?
This is Catherine. I'll second it.
Thank you, Catherine. Okay, motion made by Colleen, second by Catherine. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion carries. Okay, moving into public comment. If
I do not see
Amira?
any, buddy waiting to make public comment.
Okay. Seeing that there is no public comments, we'll move into the commissioner's update.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Simon, and congrats on your first meeting as chair. We are, of course, looking at the end of the year coming up, so lots of end of year things on our minds. But I'll just give a brief up to date of, obviously Hollis and Jordan will have more on the operations and legislative side of our work. But on my end, I want to let you all know I'm very excited. We have our new Conservation Division Director starting with us on Monday. Her name is Evan Cavanis. She's based down in Southwest Colorado in Bayfield. And Evan is coming to us. She's a rancher, a grass-fed beef operator down in Bayfield. And she's also the previous associate field director for the National Young Farmers Coalition. So she's been working at the federal, primarily federal and some state policy level for many years, in addition to her production experience, not just as a business owner, but growing up in Southwest Colorado as well. She's trilingual, holds degrees in English, Spanish, and special ed. And she's ranched on the Front Range as well, with a lot of time in Larimer County, working with their open space program and serving in many volunteer policy capacities, both at the local level, including with Poudre Valley Community Farms, Larimer County Farmers Alliance. She's the vice president of Four Corners Farmers Coalition, and has done a lot of work on the Farm Bill. So she'll be starting on Monday. And I'm really excited for you all to get to meet her, hopefully in person over the coming months. And again, she's running our conservation division. So soil health, federal lands, all of our work on renewable energy, and our drought and climate resilience office, among other work. So that's a big hiring update there. And Hollis will have, I think, a few other updates on the hiring front. But that having Evan join us really rounds out our senior management team in this phase of our work. So really excited to have Evan join. In addition, just with the, oh, and welcome David, I see you're just arriving. Thanks for being here. We'll note that in the minutes. Thinking about Farm Bill, of course, there's lots of change going on at the federal level with transitions coming up in the coming weeks, both in Congress and the presidential administration. So we're doing work right now to understand the scope of our federal funding, make sure we are doing everything we can to lock in the funding we have for Colorado. And then just working like we have kind of actually every transition in the past, understanding how we make sure our team is whole and we're preparing for any changes to federal funding, whether through the Farm Bill, which right now, of course, we're in another extension, so not expecting anything wildly new on that front, but certainly expect changes to come our way. I think we are in a really good position at CDA. Of course, we rely on federal funding for everything from our cooperative agreements in animal health around disease response and traceability to produce safety, food safety, and then a lot of the grants that we have received these past few years, like our 25 million Climate Smart Commodities grant for soil health. Of course, that was all USDA as well. We actually have a lot of partnerships with FDA and EPA, so not just USDA. So just know we're monitoring there and we're going to be ready for whatever comes and looking at supporting our team through whatever changes come our way. And then keeping tabs on Farm Bill remains a priority. Jordan actually has a new addition to his team. It was a position that was previously in conservation, working on federal lands rules and really responding to proposed rules. Sort of took that position and expanded it into more of a federal lands policy position, our federal policy writ large. So now we've got a great new team member, Emily, who's able to track more of what's going on at the federal level and make sure we've got tabs on Farm Bill and other federal policy movement. Coming back closer to home, hopefully you saw just in the last couple of days, we, alongside CPW, announced our sort of latest iteration of our non-lethal conflict mitigation program around wolf reintroduction. In our follow-up email, I'll share some of the news links that have come out this week, but really what you'll see is a comprehensive picture of the work CDA and CPW are doing together. We've discussed these, now we really have them solidified and rolling out. So the strategies that you'll see in these news reports include free site assessments for livestock producers, additional conflict reduction staff on both teams. So we've hired 2 non-lethal conflict mitigation specialists, and CPW, I think, is hiring 5 additional in addition to their team members already on board. CPW has developed different criteria levels for depredation response, so really focused on what you do right after a depredation. Of course, a lot of this work is avoiding and minimizing depredation. The big one for CDA is the launch of our Colorado Range Rider program. This is in close partnership with CPW. That's why we call it Colorado program and not a CDA or CPW. But we're really excited about this. We'll be rolling out training in early 2025, getting ready for both early season support, so calving, lambing time, as well as range time, looking at open range training, which will be extensive, and will be already actually are soliciting folks who are interested in joining the state in that work. So again, I'll send you these links, but if you think or know of anybody who has great skills and experience with horses, with livestock, wants to be on the range and wants to work with the state through this training to then be deployed to assist our livestock communities, we're taking interest right now. So folks can sign up if they're interested and then get more information. So I encourage you to help us out and think of great people for that. In addition, we've published our best management practices recommendations for carcass management, and that will be an evolving area of work. We continue to receive grant applications for up to $20,000, and our team continues to travel the Western Slope hosting educational workshops for producers. So all of those, I think 8 items together, consist of the Colorado strategy right now. And the team has really been working very hard to get us to this point in advance of the next reintroduction this winter. I'll pause there. Any questions for me on wolf reintroduction or any of the other items? Yeah, Catherine.
So this has been a real hot topic around the West. Governor Polis's remarks about the ranchers costing or raising the price of the reintroduction was very poorly received, and people are kind of upset about that, feeling attacked again. So unfortunately, those were ill-timed with the new release. Also, I was down at the National Grazing Lands Coalition meeting and met with a couple of groups, and I sent you an email about the halter system. And so as I was talking through with the representatives from the company there, they have the ability, or they already have lights incorporated into their collars, and linking some sort of an accelerator or something when the cattle are chased to flash those lights is no big deal. And I'm raising funds to try and get a pilot project with Halter and the ranch up in Kremling to try that out. I'm reaching out to Conway as well to see if he wants to partner on that, because we could use another herd as a pilot project. So excited about that. They also said that they could easily put some sound that could be triggered by some event. And I reached out to Wayne and haven't gotten a response yet, but I'd like to chat to Division of Wildlife about this as we move forward and link them up with this team, because I think with the technology being widely adopted for virtual fence, it's a good thing to use to mitigate wolf attacks. So I'm pursuing that, even if no one's getting back to me on it, because I'm running right up in the wolf country.
Yeah,
So,
well, thank you, Catherine. And
yeah.
I saw your email from this week that I think is the one you referenced. I know Wayne is on his way to the Wild Horse Working Group, which is another new program of his. But I'll make sure that he knows that we want to close the loop on that introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That'd be great, because I have high hopes for that technology, because the wolves won't habituate to it if it's not on all the time. So it could be something that would really help, especially if we incorporate some sort of a sound, which they seem to think they could do rapidly.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, the last few items on my list for today, Jordan's gonna brief you all on budget and legislative items, so I will refrain. Just know that we were able to defend our budget at our annual joint budget committee hearing on Monday, just a couple days ago. Went really well. State's in a tough position with a budget deficit that is on the horizon, but we're managing toward that. But again, Jordan will have more updates. And then it's just been great being out at recent events, was able to speak at Farmers Union Convention, Farm Bureau Annual Meeting, CCI, which is Colorado Counties. And then, of course, January is busy on the conference side of things, Stock Show. And we host numerous events at Stock Show, in addition to all the other events going on. I do have one item, and this is a scheduling item for 2025. And I apologize because last meeting, when we voted on our approved schedule, I should have caught this. But I actually have a conflict for our March meeting. So I was hoping to propose a couple of new dates for today for rescheduling that. Right now, we're scheduled for March 12th. Essentially, the 12th would be the meeting, 11th would be the public forum. So I'm interested in if we can schedule to either March 13th and 14th. This is down in Toyac in Southwest Colorado with Simon. So either March 13th and 14th or March 18th and 19th the next week. So the 18th being the public forum day and the 19th being the meeting. So happy to discuss that now, but knowing it's not on the agenda and you weren't prepared for it, I'm happy to follow up via email to confirm what works best for the commission. Simon, it could go either way. No need to finalize that today. Just know that would like to get that finalized sooner than later for you all.
Okay, thank you. Just to let it be known, I believe Kate will be on the 12th flying in, so she'd probably be able to make the 13th and 14th, but if it works for everybody to have it that following week, the 18th and 19th, we can bring it back up at next month's meeting and finalize that. But if everybody can see if that 18th and 19th of March would work better for everybody, I know it would help Commissioner Greenberg on her schedule if something was to happen, which I can vouch. It happened to me yesterday and it took me a couple of days to get home. So flying is always an issue, but if anybody can take a look at that, and we'll bring it back up next board meeting and see how that fits everybody's schedule to be moving the March to meeting here in Toyac, Colorado to the 19th and 18th and 19th, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
see Elena has joined us and has her hand raised as well.
Yes, Elena.
Yes, I probably wouldn't be able to attend in person that day. I think that's really too close to Lamming, but I will be able to do remote probably. But I could do if you scheduled it for the week before, then I'm more likely to be able to make it in person.
Okay.
Yeah, the 13th and 14th actually works better for me. I'd have to be remote the 18th and 19th as well.
Okay. Anybody else on those two dates?
It looks like Harrison commented that the 18th, 19th works better for him.
Okay, well, what we'll do is at its January meeting, we'll address this and set a date that works for everybody that can attend in person, if not remote. Okay,
Simon.
thank you. Anything else, Commissioner? Okay, thank you for the update. Next, we'll move into operations update with Hollis.
Thanks, Simon. Appreciate it. Hi, Commissioners. Good to see everybody. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I'm going to go fairly quickly to the operational updates and then take a pause for questions. And then I'd like to spend just a few minutes showing our internal dashboard that we've created for our strategic plan and walk through that and highlight some of the areas that we've been focusing on here at the department. So for my updates, sticking with the theme of hiring, in addition to Evan Cavanis, Conservation Services Division Director, we're currently also looking to hire, and we're in the interview phase for our new Assistant State Veterinarian. as well as doing interviews for our Ag Workforce Development Next Gen Program Manager. That position also oversees our specialty crop block grant program. So hope to have both of those positions hired pretty quickly right after the holidays. Speaking of our Ag Workforce Development Program, we're completing our application review and just want to share total funds so far that we intend to award in 2025 for next year is going to be roughly around $300,000 for this is our internship program. So we'll be issuing with that money roughly 66 internships between 46 businesses. These opportunities range anywhere from kind of on-farm hands work to seed production and plant breeding to even holistic animal husbandry. So these internships will run from the first of the year 2025 to the very end of the calendar year. So we're excited to really see the ramp up of our Ag Workforce Development Program. And again, a lot of this is because we saw additional funding from the state legislature for this program. In other grant news, we are awarding, we have our new Equine Welfare Assistance Grant Program through our new Division of Animal Welfare. This is a program and where we're going to be issuing up to $200,000 for this fiscal year and then $200,000 each for each next 2 fiscal years. So for this year, we just completed the application review process and we're in the process of awarding the grants to support equine welfare to 10 awardees. So as soon as we have finalized that, we'll provide a summary at a follow-up Ag Commission meeting on who the awardees are. On the federal funding side, as Kate mentioned earlier, Climate Smart Marketing Commodities Program is a big program, $25 million. And we have received and secured an additional $1.8 million in funding, and that funding is going to go help with our soil health program and supporting our conservation district. So we're happy to see that we secured some additional funding for that program. Our Regional Food Business Center program, in which we're a partner with CSU as well as other states of the Western region, Colorado team is offering grants up to $10,000. They're really designed to support small and mid-scale Colorado food and farm businesses. They're calling this the Business Builder Grant. With this grant, $200,000 is available from this program. They're expecting to make anywhere from 20 to 60 awards. These awards will be announced at the end of February. They're currently accepting applications. I'll share with the commission the link if anyone would be interested. They're currently accepting applications until January 10th. The program really is, again, for those small mid-scale businesses producing, sourcing from, or focused on local regional markets, serving multiple farms, multiple small mid-scale food and farm businesses. So the use of these grants are really going to be intended to use to improve business skills, strengthen the viability of the business, expanding access to markets, and ultimately strengthen local regional food and agriculture supply chains. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit. We don't often bring up enforcement cases, but I want to highlight one that we've been working on since last spring through the Brand Inspection Division. They've been working with Larimer County local law enforcement and the DA on a complaint of alleged animal cruelty and livestock theft up in Larimer County with the allegation of shooting of livestock and a complaint from the livestock owner. Really highlighting the work that brand inspectors up in Larimer County did, as well as the Brands Commissioner, Todd Ingley, in working with local law enforcement, as well as the DEA, to investigate findings of violation, and then actually posting notices of charges. Just a few weeks ago, they took the case, they prosecuted the case, and there was a plea deal. We had, and he pled guilty. The suspect pled guilty, 3 counts of aggravated animal cruelty, class 4 felony, 3 counts of aggravated animal theft, also class 4 felonies. And really, the focus of this work really showcases the work that that the brand inspection division does, and showcases how we work collaboratively on and take seriously brand theft, violations of the local livestock laws in the brands division, and working with those local law enforcement. So it's a really good success story, really showing how we push hard to show accountability and focusing on animal and livestock law. I'm going to stop there and see if there's any questions any commissioners may have on what I covered or anything else that may come up as far as operations.
And it looks like Catherine has a question.
Actually, that's interesting because down at the grazing conference, I heard from a gentleman at JBS that the #1 foreign material collected from cattle slaughtering is gunshot residue, so shotgun residue. So I would suggest that you push the prosecution out into the press so we try and slow this down. I asked him whether this was a regional thing or not, and it was not. It was pretty much nationwide that the #1 foreign body found in meat is shot residue.
Interesting, interesting.
I thought it was.
Okay. Kate, I think you have your hand up.
Yep, just two things on that. Catherine, really interesting point. You also might have seen some reports of other missing livestock in other areas of the state. So just know that, again, our brands team is very much involved where cases of missing livestock are occurring, and we'll brief you as we're able to when we know more. Yeah,
Have
Catherine,
you,
go ahead.
there's also a missing livestock investigation going on up in Grand County. Cattle showed up over branded in the Torrington livestock auction, and I wonder if our brands division is partnering and figuring that one out.
We can follow up, but my guess is yes, I think they are aware of pretty much everything with regards to missing livestock that's going on around the state, or certainly that's been reported. Yeah, and happy to follow up with more details on that, Catherine, too, with what you're hearing. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, I don't remember if we had the chance at our last meeting to mention that our Assistant State Veterinarian, Dr. Morgan McCarty, has moved on to the USDA. And I just want to thank her for the time she's given to us at CDA. Hollis mentioned we're at the tail end of hiring for that position. Luckily, Dr. McCarty won't be going far. We're still working very closely with her in her USDA role. So just want to say thank you to Dr. McCarty for her time at CDA. And that's it for me.
I am going to share my, I'm going to share my request. Amara, if I can get.
I just approved it or said aloud. Did that work for you?
Yep. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
See the
Yep.
Yes.
Looks good.
Great, thank you. So commissioners, this is an update, just kind of where we at with our multi-year strategic plan. We've developed this plan that goes from 2024. And what I'm sharing with you today is this is an internal site, essentially creating a dashboard. So this helps us keep track of where we're at with the strategic actions within our plan, providing kind of not just reporting, but holding and developing accountability to our programs. And tracking essentially kind of the great work that we're doing across the department. So while this is internal now, we're still making some kind of formatting tweaks on this, but eventually there'll be a public version of this dashboard as well. So the public can also kind of see not just what our strategic plan is, but then also how we're doing in achieving the objectives that we have sought out. And so, again, you can read the narrative of our strategic plan. We have it on here. And in the follow-up email, we'll provide a copy of the strategic plan to you. But you can read the strategic plan here. This is more of the narrative copy. But what you're looking at here essentially is our dashboard internally. And so what we do is we're going to firstly begin to look at what is our successes in accomplishing some of the objectives that we have sought out to accomplish. And so I'm going to circle back to that in a moment. But as a refresher, when we look at navigating our plan, we look at We start from a very high level and what are the directions we're looking at? And there's five essentially directions that we're going to be focused on. And then within those, there's paths, and think of those as like categories or areas that we are doing work in that various direction, whether it's people and community or market economic productivity. And then we get into kind of what are the objectives that we are seeking to achieve, the strategic actions that we're going to implement to achieve those strategic objectives. And then finally, what are the benchmarks or the steps that we're taking to complete the strategic action? And so as I started, we have those 5 directions, again, because we are a division beyond just the commissioner's office with 9 other divisions ranging from a laboratory to the state fair. So we are moving in all sorts of different directions. And so in order for the strategic plan to really encompass all the work we do, we're focusing in 5 directions: people, community, market, economic productivity, economic stewardship and climate resilience, animal health and welfare. And then the 5th direction is almost internally, but it's really important to focus on those internal operational improvements. So within our dashboards, we're focusing and tracking from a metric standpoint of the strategic actions that we want to complete this year. For this fiscal year, we are looking at completing 53 strategic actions. As we track these, you can begin to see that we're tracking not just the strategic actions, but are they in progress? When is the completion date? And then the status of those completion, the status of completing these strategic actions. So this really helps us from a standpoint of kind of monitoring the work that we're doing across the division to make sure that we're staying focused and staying on track with completing the objectives, again, that were set by those division directors and those program managers. And so you see a lot of progress in the bar. You see under the health of each one of our strategic actions, a lot of green, meaning that these are currently in progress, or blue if they've actually been completed. And then we're working on, for this quarter, 16 strategic actions. So should be done here by the end of this actual month as we come to the end of December. So we're able to track kind of what are those actions and then the benchmarks that we're focusing on. And then here are the strategic actions that are coming up in the next quarter. We still want to we still want to celebrate our success. So I'm going to not make you too dizzy here, but we also are going to track kind of what are the strategic actions that we've completed so far in this fiscal year. And right now we have 3 in here. We're still focusing on, making some updates here. So I think there's a couple more that are actually completed, but really we completed a strategic action relating around the expansion of our organic certification, the work we've done on public safety relating to pesticide use through the enhanced certification and supervision protection, the regulatory compliance, education, and efficiency. So that's our pesticide program. And then enhancing our foreign animal disease preparedness and internally and building external resiliency. So this is in response to all the high path AI responses outbreaks that we've had to respond to, and developing an internal strike team. We were able to do that this fiscal year. So we celebrate the success by hiding them here in our success reel. Diving little deeper into how you can see, we have directional overviews, again, of each one of these directions. And they look like this. So, for instance, here's our marketing and economic productivity, where you can see our various paths and objectives, such as expanding the Colorado Proud program, promoting marketing strategies and opportunities for climate smart, advancing Colorado wine industry, supporting expansive organic certification. Again, that's the one I just mentioned. That one's complete, and so on and so forth. So each direction has these tables in which shows us what are those actions and strategic actions. Here's our environmental stewardship, climate resilience objectives, and the paths that those are found in, whether it's renewable energy, water resilience, regenerative agriculture, and so forth. And then I'm going to pick one that's hiding from me here really quick, under people and community. So you can see, you can drill down into these on our dashboard. So you begin to see, okay, well, agricultural workforce support, we want to increase the health, safety, and labor and professional development of our ag workforce. So this is a program within our Inspection and Consumer Services Division. And our action is, and our strategic action that we've set out to do and complete in by the end of this fiscal year is to create regional network of workforce experts who can support local workforce and employers, hold meetings, and address local issues related to ag workforce and employment. And where you can see, people can even drill down into what are the benchmarks of our success in standing up these new regional networks. So we want to deploy 2 regional coordinators, one on the Western Slope, one on the Eastern Plains. We're very close to completing that action. We've already hired the one on the Eastern Plains, and we're currently hiring for the Western Slope. And then we'll establish measures and benchmarks on kind of how do we want to focus the number of employers, the workers, and the level of assistance that we're going to provide. We're going to complete that benchmark for what does this program look like by January. And then we're going to be establishing those regional convener expert establish those regional networks and start having meetings, holding 10 regional convening meetings by the end of this fiscal year, so by July. Again, this was a product of legislation that came out last year with the funding for these 2 new regional coordinators. So this is a great example of how something that passed through the state legislature last year, enhancing a program, how we put this into and adopt it into our strategic plan by developing not just the strategic action, but those benchmarks in which then the Inspection Consumer Services Division and Aldo Para, who oversees this program, is able to monitor and then report on the work that we're doing strategically to achieve those benchmarks to hit those dates. Once we've completed a strategic action, we'll be doing a post-action summary, which will then provide kind of what is that overall impact that strategic action had. So a lot of work has gone into this. Again, this strategic plan is iterative. So it is designed that once we complete an objective, the programs then look to say, okay, what's next? We've completed the work that we needed to complete in pesticides as far as doing the new pesticide sensitivity registry online database. What's the next thing that program wants to then accomplish in order to enhance that objective of creating safety around pesticides? So this program and this dashboard in particular is designed so we can make changes and make updates as we accomplish one strategic action. Another one can be developed. So I'll stop there and happy to answer any questions regarding our strategic plan or our dashboard.
Looks like Colleen has a question.
No question, but Hollis, as a visual learner, I really appreciate the completion process visual. That's nice to see that, how that's flowing.
Yes, I also agree. Thanks, Colleen.
Owen Harrison has a question.
Thanks for that, Hollis. That's very interesting. I'm really curious to know how whether this is a system y'all developed whole cloth, whether this is a system being deployed across all Colorado agencies, sort of how does this fit into the broader, how is this a puzzle piece in the broader workings of the state and or other departments of agriculture? And that's not a critical statement, I'm just curious.
Yeah, this is just something unique to CDA that we've done. It started with sitting around a table with Jordan and Kate, and after about a year and a half ago, after the last election, and Polis was nominated, to say, okay, what is Kate's vision? Where does she want to focus? Where do we focus on? And then going to division directors and program managers, say, okay, what are you working on and what are you passionate on? And really crosswalking those to see kind of where is Kate's vision of where she wants to take this department, and what is the work, what are the resources that we have, and matching those. And they were very identical. And then really helping to design what those program managers are focusing on and what they want to work on, and then layering in, okay, what are your benchmarks for success? So it's really just a CDA specific strategic plan. Other agencies have strategic plans that they've had multiple years, so it's not a unique, strategic plans is definitely not unique to CDA. But what we really try to do is make something that is really interactive and dynamic, so we can not only track it, but also make it public so people can see not just what the strategic plan is, but the progress we're making towards it, but also make changes to it as things change. Because you look at strategic plans from other agencies, they can get really stale after a year or two. So hopefully the goal here is that it just keeps being refreshed and added as we take on new challenges.
And it may have been in there and I just missed it, but I'm curious, was there anywhere in that, was there a like a report card? Was there like a report card or a closeout notes section or a section where you not only understand what your benchmarks are and what your progress towards completion is, but this is lessons learned, or this is or this is sure, we got 3 new employees out there, but how much, what good do they actually do, or what notes do we actually
Yes,
have
absolutely.
from the work that they did?
It's a piece we're still trying to work into the dashboard, but essentially we have monthly reporting that the person, there's someone associated with each strategic action is responsible, and they do monthly reporting. So that's more internal management. So we know they're moving forward on something or when something gets off track. And then when they complete it, this button right, this is what we're still developing, is a post-action summary, in which we'll have a summary of what that action has done. And one of the areas that we're focusing on there is really what is the impact, and really stressing what is the measurable impact that this had, whether it's in the number of grants we've issued, the number of producers we've connected. So we really are looking on how do we develop, this is the next phase that we're working on, which we should have completed in a couple of weeks. But we definitely want to be able to know internally and then share externally what is the result of this strategic action. Yeah.
And if I can just emphasize that, Harrison, I think picking up your point that, creating positions or filling positions is important, but that's not the outcome, right? That's not the impact on the people we serve. So to Hollis's point, making sure we're accountable for impact is a priority in this process. And I think that's where the commission can really help us understand, are we making impact through our strategic investments and strategic decision-making, essentially, because it's about what changes and what happens on the ground to support our mission and the people we serve.
Yeah, I think that's great. I also think it's, having that kind of information, being able to manage that kind of data, then being able to not only show us a graph about where the intentions for the department are, but then being able to show heat map of where successes and failures were, or something like that, is like really cool, would be really cool visualizations for us as the commission.
So we'll share a link with this to the commissioners in the after commission email. That's all I have for you today.
Okay. Thank you, Hollis. A lot of good information there for sure. Thank you. Moving on next to Jordan, legislative policy and budget updates.
Thank you, Simon, and good afternoon, everybody. So the Commissioner Greenberg mentioned in her update on Monday, we had our annual JBC hearing in which the department presents its proposed budget to the committee and answers questions from them. There's a lot of work that goes into this process, and just really want to thank Jen Hughes and Bev Zupke for all their efforts kind of shepherding us through this process this year, as well as Amanda, Dr. Baldwin, and Andrea, all had a role in the presentation on Monday. As I discussed at last month's meeting, CDA, we really have kind of 4 specific budget requests that we put forward to the JBC. I'm not going to touch on those again today, but did mention last time that we were anticipating some discussion around additional kind of potential cuts to the agency that might be proposed by JBC staff. We've gotten kind of a bit more clarity on what their staff is focusing in on as additional potential cuts to the department. A lot of these, you know, are things that the department, you know, could potentially absorb. Others, you know, would have impacts on our programs. So I'm just going to run through those so that you're aware of them. These are all were discussed by the committee last week and were part of the committee staff's kind of reports and documents. But one of the things that they're looking at eliminating is the rodent control cash fund. This is actually a cash fund that has about $26,000 within the department that is no longer utilized. We actually proposed to eliminate this a couple of years ago, and the committee decided against it. I think largely because it would require a bill to gain $26,000. Now that we're in a budget shortfall, I think they'll attempt to sweep those funds out this year and close out that fund. They're also proposing or looking at taking kind of a one-time transfer out of the agricultural management cash fund. So this is the fund that houses the money that we get from the property or the Colorado Tourism Trust Fund, and we use for a lot of core department functions and programs. We currently, you know, have a pretty healthy cash fund balance in there, and so, you know, if this sweep of about $600,000 out of that fund were to occur, again, we can probably manage that kind of over the long run, and it wouldn't have any significant short-term impacts on the department or our programs. The next proposed cut that they were looking at is sweeping about $250,000 out of the diseased livestock indemnity cash fund. There's currently a balance of about $730,000 in that fund. Again, that's a fund that's not regularly used, but it is kind of held for kind of those emergencies when we do have disease outbreaks and there's a need to indemnify livestock producers where the federal government isn't paying and compensating on that. So that they did propose that sweep. Then they also did propose a small sweep of about $20,000 from the Cervidae disease cash fund. That's essentially interest earnings over time on about a $200,000 balance in that fund. And then there are 2 additional kind of general fund cuts that their staff are proposing. One is to reduce our next gen ag leadership and ag workforce development grant funding by about $100,000. And then the last one would be reducing our renewable energy and energy efficiency grant funding by about $100,000. So the JBC staff, again, has put all of these cuts kind of on the table. We are going to be working with the governor's office in responding to those proposals to make sure that they understand the impacts on the programs that those would have. We're a long way from the JBC making any formal decisions on cuts to agencies. That'll likely take place in March. And so there's a lot of time for conversations kind of back and forth between JBC, the departments, and the governor's office about, again, any potential cuts that we'll see. So we'll keep you all updated on the budget process as things move forward. See, next up, just want to give you kind of a really brief update on kind of legislation that the department is working on this year. Kind of the two things that we're focusing on at the moment are getting a bill to extend the authorization for our wild horse program. We extended it by 1 year last year. And then the wild horse working group, which has been meeting for about a year and a half or almost 2 years now, as part of that program, just came out with their first set of formal recommendations this fall. One of which was to again continue the program here at CDA. So we'll be working with stakeholders on that for this upcoming session. The other thing that we're going to be kind of focusing our time on here in the coming months is really ensuring that we usher the farm products and commodity handlers sunset through the process and making sure that that goes very smoothly. So those are the things that we're focusing on right now. Also, kind of on the legislative front, just want to make you all aware that the House Democrats made their committee assignments this week. We also anticipate that the Senate Dems will announce their committee assignments this week. Kind of traditionally, it's the majority party makes their announcements, then the minority party follows up about a week later. So we kind of anticipate that the Republicans will announce next week. In the House, for the Ag Committee, Representative McCormick will remain the chair of that committee. Vice chair will be Representative Morrow from Pueblo area. She'll replace Representative Catlin, who has been the chair for the past several years, who is moving up to the Senate this year. There's a lot of kind of, again, consistency in members from last year. There's a couple new folks on that, including Representative-elect Stewart from Durango and Representative-elect Smith from Boulder. So looking forward to getting to know them and working with them on that committee. So that kind of wraps up updates I have on the state level. Just very brief on the federal level. Again, we're really anticipating another 1 year extension on the Farm Bill this year. Again, as Commissioner Greenberg mentioned in her updates, we're really just prepping for a lot of potential changes that may occur starting in January. There's a lot of kind of rumors flying around about what may or may not happen. We're just focused on being prepared as best as possible for whatever kind of comes our way in the new year, and we'll be kind of ready to adapt to that as quickly as we possibly can. The last thing I wanted to provide just a quick update to everybody on is that last week I was able to attend a USDA trade mission to Morocco, which was a great opportunity. I was there with 13 other state departments of agriculture. We had 14 cooperators or businesses that help facilitate trade, as well as 27 American food and commodity businesses and organizations. Really, the focus was on kind of initiating a lot of relationships within Morocco and within Africa, kind of with an eye on potential future trade opportunities. By 2050, 1 in 4 people on the planet will be living in Africa. And Morocco is really seen by kind of the USDA and kind of all of our trade partners here in the U.S. as really the gateway to Africa in terms of trade. They have incredible modern ports and infrastructure, and they're the only country in Africa in which the U.S. has a free trade agreement. We have really good longstanding relationship with the government of Morocco. They're actually the first country to recognize the independence of the U.S. in 1777, and we've maintained diplomatic relationships with them ever since. So again, it was a really great trip, and just look forward to working with our international markets team on how we can capitalize on that moving forward. So with that, those are all my updates, and happy to answer any questions you all have.
Any questions for Jordan? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Jordan. Moving on here to the Regional Assistant Commissioner updates. Is Riley May on? Nick?
Hi,
Purchase-
everybody.
Hi, how are you?
I'm here.
Good.
I'm
Okay,
good.
thank you.
Updates. I don't know. It's just the end of the year, so we're swimming in it. And I just took on that new position with the Valley Roots Food Hub. And I'm just trying to absorb it all so I can be effective in the ton of the grants we're involved with, actually with the CDA, wrapped around food. I'm trying to keep the cows fed and the fire burning. I don't have a whole lot to update from this or from my area. I do intend on reaching out to Kate and Beasley, as I have we do have an issue going on in Pueblo County with that new unified code that took place, and we have farmers and ranchers that are being what do you call that? Those drones, and lawsuits are being filed because of the new zoning ordinances. So cow calf operations that have come down from the high country are now considered feedlots, and there's a big old debacle, and it's just getting started. And we're going to need some help talking to our commissioners to find out what we can do about all of this. But outside of that, I think that's one of the biggest things happening in the Pueblo area. And then, of course, still working with Nourish Colorado and Jess, and looking for this, working towards this Scales grant, which will hopefully help us with more food institution and ag education and hands-on in classrooms. So we'll see how that goes. And outside of that, I think that might be all I have this time. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Joe Stanko, are you on? Okay, George Whitten, are you? Okay, thank you, Nick. Moving on to the discussion of CDA's priorities. I think that ties right into Hollis, what you presented with the strategic plan, really, and gives us a good opportunity to monitor and follow that. But does any other commissioners have anything on the CDA priorities?
Yeah, I just want to go back to the defining regen for some of our discussions. And so that was a big topic down at the Grazing Lands Conference about how people are going to define regen. And there was two schools sort of define it on practices or define it on outcomes. And so that's going to be sort of the dichotomy that you're going to be facing when you talk about giving tax credits for regeneratively raised products. So everyone's having the same conversations, and I guess we're just going to have to make our definition sort of fluid, which is what the conclusion that everybody else reached, because as new technologies come on, some monitoring or outcome measurements are changing as far as how they're done. People were really stepping away from actual soil testing into other types of outcome-based monitoring. So I'm real curious to see how the department brings that forward, and I'm happy to sort of connect there.
Okay, Catherine, thank you. Anybody else have anything to add with what Catherine was mentioning?
I'll just jump in here, Simon, for a second. So thanks for that, Catherine, and there's been a lot of kind of discussions both last year and I think leading up to this session around the definition of regenerative ag. And I know that there was a push last year to put a specific definition in state statutes. And I think one of the challenges that we ran into last year and that you always see with trying to put a very specific definition in, is that we have a lot of different programs. And typically we tie definitions to kind of a very specific program. So for example, with, in our soil health program, we have kind of a certain set of definitions there. Their ag stewardship tax credit, we have a certain set of definitions there, and they're usually, again, tied to a specific program operation. And so one of I think the concerns last year too with kind of just coming up with a definition that would tend to apply to everything is that without that context for, what a specific program, it's really can be challenging because you potentially tie other programs or future programs to that definition without knowing kind of the parameters of those specific programs.
Yeah, it's very complex.
Okay, thanks, Catherine. We'll continue to follow that. Anything else on CDA priorities at this time?
Harrison? Harrison has something.
All right, Harrison?
Hey, thanks. Sorry to, I said this last meeting too, and I just bring it up again. Y'all, CDA has always been, and I think one of the reasons I'm interested in being on this commission and one of my greatest loyalties to CDA has always
Harrison?
been the way that you have helped us to meet. Come on. What's that?
You're kind of
Can't hear
breaking
me?
up. Yeah, sorry. Try that again,
y'all are
please.
It's me, not you. That wasn't intended
Okay,
to.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, y'all have always been so good at helping producers meet market conditions, and through food safety, through organic, through the various means that we can. And I know regenerative is a big, complicated chaos mess right now, but just keep it on tabs that, from the perspective of a producer who foresees a market that will demand some sort of certification, to just keep that on the burner.
Jordan, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I don't. Just I appreciate that perspective, Harrison. Thank you.
Okay. If there's no other discussion on that, we'll move on to outreach opportunities with Bethany.
All right, well, thank you all.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can hear me okay. Let me know if background noise is a problem there. I'm at a sandwich shop in Gunnison, and the Christmas music is pretty hopping over here, which is good because it feels like Christmas, because it was 4 degrees when I rolled into town this afternoon, which is really cold. But just a couple of quick updates for you all. So I'm actually in Gunnison for the wolf conflict reduction workshop that's going to be held here this afternoon. So there are a couple of those that are still, there's one tomorrow in Gypsum, and then there's one on the 19th in Aspen. So if you haven't been able to get to one yet, there's still some opportunities. And of course, there will probably be many more opportunities into the new year for those as well. So I did want to highlight that yesterday I sent out the monthly outreach email that has some major events that are kind of filling out the rest of December. But then January, we're all going to hit the ground running, and there is just a ton of stuff that I anticipate seeing a lot of you at. So if you want to check your email, if you didn't get it, let me know. I sent it through Constant Contact, and sometimes it kind of tends to get stuck in spam filters and all of that. But there is a lot upcoming with the National Western Stock Show. There's going to be a few events associated with that. And then the Colorado Farm Show in Greeley at the end of the month is a big one. So just take a look at that. And I did want to give a quick update. It was good to see Jeff and George yesterday evening at the Rio Grande Quarterly Watershed meeting. And so a big update from that one, just for your awareness, is that the Conejos Conservation District is in the process of reforming. It had been kind of on the outs for the last few years. They'd really struggled to get producers onto the board, but there's been some renewed energy around that. So they're having a meeting on the 14th, which I believe George is going to be speaking at. And so they're really going to be taking a look at, they have some really interested different producers. There's, again, some more energy behind reorganizing the Conejos Conservation District in particular. The other conservation district that has been struggling that is no longer in formation right now is Costilla. And so that one is going to be kind of next on the list for next year for hopefully getting back into process. So I do want to give a big shout out to Garth Schaefer, who's with our Colorado State Conservation Board, representative down in the Southeast area. And he's been doing a lot of work to help support those efforts. So that's a really big one. And then if you missed our first behavioral health working group meeting on Monday, that's okay. We're going to be posting the cadence for the next ones, which will be held monthly on Tuesdays, I believe from 1 p.m. to 2:30. So you're welcome to register. That's going to be a webinar format as well. We had over 50 people who were just sitting in and listening to the webinar, and really interested in how that behavioral health working group is going to be continuing to work towards goals. So Robert Sakata is our liaison for that group, but really, really well done for the first meeting. Very excited to see the passion that is coming from all parts of the state and from many different areas. So not only just the rural agricultural community was represented, but we had some Spanish speaking people who were interested in taking those kinds of challenges and messages and helping to support the Spanish speaking ag community and rural communities as well. So, and then finally, I do just want to again, thank you all for continuing to think of priorities. I do take notes on those and try to incorporate those into what I'm working on for you guys to be part of. So Simon, I will get with you once we have everybody's dates kind of figured out for the spring March meeting and see what shakes out best for dates for everyone. And then we'll be working with you, Simon, and hopefully the tribe as well to see if we can pull something together for some field visits around that. So stay tuned. And so your feedback on what dates work for you is very much appreciated, because I will get right on that, because 2025 is literally 3 weeks away. So we're going to be seeing each other in the new year. That's all I have, Simon. Any questions from anyone? Well, thank you all.
Okay, it looks what's next on the agenda is a break, so we'll just meet back here about 12:45. Excuse me, here in about 5 minutes. Okay, 1:45. Thank you. We'll see you all in 5 minutes. Okay, we'll continue on here. We'll go into briefing the rules pertaining to a small food business recovery and resiliency tax credit, ACCR 1204-10. Mickey? Hello, how you doing?
Hi, everyone. I'm doing well. Hope you all are doing well too. Thanks for having me here. You may remember me from previous rules related to the Community Food Access Program. This one is in regards to the rules around our tax credit program. So this is the first tax credit program of its kind, and we learned a lot in our inaugural year. And through a lot of stakeholder feedback and collaboration with the Department of Revenue, we decided there were some critical changes we wanted to make in this rule. So the main motivation for those changes were to clarify the focus of what this program is for, who it's supposed to benefit, and what the main outcomes are supposed to be. And to reduce the chance of misuse of this tax credit, we realized some areas in our current rule had kind of overlooked some possibilities. So we're trying to tighten that up. And then, improve some administrative processes for efficiency, and also to reduce the amount of time folks have to wait before they file their taxes after they get a credit. So I'm happy to get into any of the specifics. I know you all have those proposed changes in front of you. So yeah, let me know if there's anything I can clarify.
I don't see any hands
No,
raised.
seeing none, Mickey, go ahead. Okay, Mickey, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, thank you.
Is there anything else I need to do here?
Is there any vote needed on this, Amira, at this time, besides the information that's been given?
Not at this time.
Okay. I guess not, Mickey. Thank you
Okay, cool.
for your time,
Thanks so
okay?
much.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, moving on to Noxious Weed Advisory Committee, Madison.
Yes, thank you all. So I'm coming today with an ask, and I can hopefully get someone on the Ag Commission who can help in reviewing applications for the Noxious Weeds Advisory Committee. Their applications are currently open and they close on December 20th. Right now we have 5 applicants. It's for 4 different positions. And so these 4 positions, there were 2 that are at will, and 1 is an agricultural rep, and then the other is for a resource, industry, environmental rep. We expect the time commitment on this to be about 4 hours. We are looking for 1 Ag Commission member that can partner with Patty York in our Conservation Services Division to review applications so that we can bring those recommendations to the Ag Commission for their approval and recommendation to the commissioner to approve these individuals at the January Ag Commission meeting. So the turnaround time on this would be between December 21st and the first week of January. So we know that's during holiday time for a lot of folks, but hopefully we can find someone today who can provide about 4 hours of review time during that time period for us. So if anyone is interested, I would love to get a name today if possible.
So we do have a comment. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
This is Dave. I'd sure be willing to help.
Thank you. And so for next steps on this is, David, I will be reaching out to Patty York and providing your information to her. And then she'll reach out to you before the 20th, but on the 21st, you can expect these applications to come to you for your review. And Patty can lay out the different criteria that they were looking at from the CDA side for these positions and help guide you through the review process.
Excellent. Thank you.
Madison, anything else?
No, that's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And thank you, David. And Madison will be reaching out to you and we'll get that taken care of.
Thanks.
Thank you, Madison. Moving forward here, we have the Pesticide Advisory Committee nominations. John.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, John.
Happy holidays, everyone. We have 2 Pesticide Advisory Committee appointments that we need to make. Our Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment representative and our State National Beekeepers Association representative. Both of these seats expired in November. We received 2 nominees for our State National Beekeepers Association. And then, of course, the Colorado Department of Public Health position, that is a reoccurring position. And John Nealon sat in that position representing CDPHE for many years. And it's one of our few PAC positions that there's no term limits on. So John Nealon has resubmitted his nomination. And then out of our 2 State National Beekeeper Association nominees, Elena helped me do the review on our advisory committee, which I thank you for her time. So John Nealon and Daniel Tafe were the two nominees that we are recommending that the advisory committee or the Ag Commission approve for the pesticide advisory committee. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Okay, is there any questions for John at this time? Seeing none, I see that there is a proposed motion on this, if we can move forward on that.
Simon, this is Colleen. I move that the Agricultural Commission appoint John Nealon as the representative of the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment and Daniel Teff as the representative of a state or national bee association to the Pesticide Advisory Committee for terms ending on December 11th, 2027.
Okay. Would like to open this up for a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, Colleen, you made the motion, and thank you, Kathleen, for the second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, John. Okay. All right, moving on here. So we're running a little bit ahead of schedule, but we will move into commission member updates.
I can go ahead, Simon, if you like. This is
Thank you,
David. Yeah, things out in Northeast Colorado, kind of like a couple individuals said, everything's happening fast here at the end of the year. Or the year's coming upon us really fast, and a lot of things going here yet, but we were fortunate to have that good moisture a few weeks ago with the snow and the rain, and we haven't had anything since, so it's a good thing we got what we did. We're very concerned about the markets, of course. We've seen a little gain. Livestock people are pretty excited. We're seeing record highs again here lately. So the story's out on that yet, as far as they're not sure if it's part of the deal with Mexico and the screwworm deal down there, knowing that we're going to be short some more cattle, as well as being short anyway from the drought and things that have happened over the last several years. But it seems like every week or every day we keep hearing sale barn reports that breaking new records. So that's a good thing on the cattle side. Corn side, we're still very concerned about the amount of corn that's coming in from out of states, Nebraska, Kansas, coming into Colorado when there's markets, or there's cattle or corn, I'm sorry, here in Colorado it can be marketed. So we're kind of seeing a basis drop very heavily because of incoming corn being trucked in and railed in. As far as the sugar beet side, things are looking pretty good there. Factory has been running good at Fort Morgan and getting things processed. Sugar prices remain pretty decent on that end. Wheat prices have come back just a little, but they're well below what they were back in July and August. So we've continued to see a decline in wheat prices. Other than that, a lot of farmers and ranchers going, towards the end of the year here, starting to get renewals for next season. Hopefully that goes well for them, but with the depressed prices, that may put some hindrance on a few of them, and especially high interest rates. We have seen a little bit of a drop on that, but they still remain a very large input costs on this side. So with that, I think that kind of covers everything around here.
Okay, thank you, David.
Simon, this is Colleen. Can I go? Because I've got
Yes, ma'am.
I got to take off for the airport here pretty soon. I'm
Okay.
getting ready to fly out to Iowa to see our daughter for a few days. But let's see what I have to report to you. I did attend the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. There was some great policy discussions and some wonderful speakers, including our own Commissioner Kate Greenberg there. I did sit in on the behavioral working group Monday. Like Bethany said, it's going to be a great group. They did their introductions, talked about logistics. Bethany gave them board training, and I think it's going to be a great group that's going to take some issues along very well. I did go back to DC last week, tagged along with Kent. They called the state executive directors for farm service agencies out there for one more time. Met a lot of people from the USDA as well. Obviously, it's kind of a melancholy area there right now because as of January 17th, all the White House appointees will no longer be there and no longer be in their appointee jobs here. But very cold and windy in DC last week too. And I have a feeling that's what I'm going to be going to in Iowa, a different kind of cold. Other than that, as a family, we are very excited. The CSU Rams are going bowling. They're going to a bowl game. They are going to the Snoop Dogg Bowl in Tucson. So everybody have a nice holiday. I'm going to stay on as long as I can, but it's good to see everybody.
Thank you, Colleen. We're going to see you or talk to you again. Have a Merry Christmas. Okay. Any other takers here?
I'll go, Catherine.
Thank you, Catherine.
So it's been dry here on the western slope. We've gotten a few dustings of snow as the storms move over us to hit the mountains, but not super moist, but also not very drying. So whatever moisture we have gotten over the fall and early winter is still in the ground. My cattle are still out on pasture, and I think a lot of people's cattle are as well, because the ground is so open, probably up to, on this side, probably up to, maybe 7,500 feet. So the snow level is still very high. It's been chilly at night and pretty mild during the day. So that it does seem as if we get a dusting, it's gone really fast. Cattle markets, of course, are super strong. People are excited about that. But on the other hand, I don't see people growing herds just yet. So I'm not sure when that's going to happen. There are a few people, young people, that would like to get into the industry, but it's still that land access piece that is perplexing. I haven't seen a lot of larger leases open up yet, but we'll keep watching for that. As I said, I was down in Tucson at the National Grazing Lands Coalition Conference, and it was very well attended. In fact, it was sold out. There were representatives from just about every sort of grazing use that you can imagine, along with a lot of industry folks. It was fun. I'd never been to their meeting before. I went down representing one of the Climate Smart Commodities projects, and Tucson's nice this time of the year. It was in the 70s, and yeah, it was pleasant to get out of the cold for a little bit. Other than that, there's not a lot going on right now. Everybody's just kind of hustling the end of the year and waiting to see what the new administration brings us all. So happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you, Catherine.
I'm happy to go.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. If y'all want an update about being a dad, I'm going to be way better suited to doing that than giving you anything intelligible about the fruit industry. Most of the stuff I've said in the past remains true. We have our big fruit growers conference coming up next month, which unfortunately will overlap with the January meeting. So I'll be in attendance at the fruit growers conference. the big news, I guess, is this new MAC money just came out. Can't tell you what the MAC stands for unless I look it up. But it's for specialty crop growers. $2 billion. It seems like money the Biden administration was looking to get out. As far as I can tell, that's what it is. It's just, money they're trying to get out the door before the end of their tenure. So seems like it could be a real beneficial program to specialty crop growers. I anticipate there'll be a lot of folks applying, and which may eat away at that money pretty quickly, but it's a lot of money. So also similarly, the program that, again, the acronym is evading me, but there was another slug of money that was put into the program that's gonna that helps fund food insecurity issues, and has been a big part of giving funding to places like food banks to do local food purchasing So that's also good news for farms like ours. Those have been really critical businesses for us over the years. Thank you very much, Kate. Last but not least, biggest frustration in my life right now is, in my business life right now, is just how difficult it's been to get a dredging plan going with for our reservoir. It felt like we were really building some momentum, but now there's some shifts at the Bureau, and we are being strung on now for another 4-year NEPA plan, and it's just feeling like nobody's taken this issue seriously. And meanwhile, we're looking at our reservoir essentially increasing to diminish year after year. Really frustrating situation. Not throwing anyone under the bus. I think everyone's doing their job. It's just a frustrating situation. But hopefully we'll see some traction on that one of these days. But it is, these infrastructure issues are really critical, and when it's a blessing and a curse to be wedded to so many parties when it comes to your critical agricultural infrastructure. So anyways, that's it for me.
Thank you, Harrison.
Yeah, Simon, I'll jump in next.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, things have been relatively quiet down here in the valley as far as potato farmers go. Everybody's just fixing all the stuff that they broke all summer long and shipping potatoes. We had a really good movement month, the month of November, for the Thanksgiving push. A lot of loads shipped out of the San Luis Valley here. Movement was great. Price still remains just about the same. Kind of no change there. We're really hoping to kind of diminish the supply nationwide by shipping a lot of potatoes before the first of the year, and then hopefully be able to come back after the first of the year to renegotiate some contracts, and hopefully ask for a little bit better price after the first of the year. We got a little skiff of snow earlier in the week. Didn't really do much, just enough to cool the temperature off and remind us that it's still winter here. Yeah, other than that, I attended the Rio Grande Watershed Conservation District meeting last night with Bethany and George, and that was really good, really informative. Lots of really good things happening there, and just really happy to be part of that. So it's about all I have.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Nick or Roberto?
I can go.
Thank you, Nick.
So one of these times I'm gonna do my update before David does, so that he gets to be the redundant one. But I guess on the Eastern Plains, We finally got most of the snow melted off around here. It's kind of created some pretty major challenges just with the mud because we haven't had really cold nights. So basically you got a 1 or 2 hour window in the morning to get your stuff done, and then you're pretty much cooked. So very much appreciate the moisture and anxiously awaiting spring green up to see how much of it we can carry over, and hopefully it keeps coming. But let's see, like David said, cattle prices are just unbelievable. They're selling some lightweight cattle for almost $5 a pound. So I think a lot of ranchers are almost in disbelief that it's that good. We'll see how long it lasts. Yeah, I think the screwworm thing could, there's a lot of anxiety around that on when they're going to open the border, what it's going to look like if there's going to be a huge flood of cattle. So I think a lot of guys are trying to get a lot of animals marketed now before that happens. No real guidance on when or how long they are going to keep the border closed. I guess on another note, I've been seeing a lot of really positive things on social media and other places about the non-lethal wolf training. So I'll be anxious to hear what kind of a turnout Bethany sees at this one she's at now, which is good. I'm seeing that positive feedback from a lot of cattlemen's groups and things like that. But it's for the most part pretty positive, and I'm glad that CDA was in front of that and putting those on. So that's pretty exciting. I know there's a lot of hard work from the staff and everybody at CDA to make that happen. So it's good to see some positive, anything positive related to wolves at this point. So yeah, I think that's actually I had a brand comment, and when everybody was talking about the brand board and all the great things that they're doing, I should have jumped in there when that was going on. But actually had a conversation with a brand inspector. We've been moving a lot of cattle around, so I've had a lot of interaction with the brand inspectors around here. Dealing with this, but since I've been on the Lowry Ranch, which is about 12 years now, I think we've seen 4 different brand inspectors turn over in this area. And at least 2 of them I know of have had to leave just because of the cost of living in this area and the salaries. Not that they're bad salaries or anything else. I think it's just the exorbitant cost of living in these areas. So Kate, I don't know if that's something, if there's some type of locality pay or something like that, or just wanted to put that on your radar. I'm sure it's occurring along the Front Range and probably a lot of these mountain areas that blue collar type people just can't afford to live in those areas. So where that job really involves being involved in the community and really kind of having an idea of what's going on on all the ranches and stuff, I think it's pretty important to try and combat that turnover. So anyways, just wanted to put that on your radar and see if there's anything we could do about it, or how locality pays and all of that. I know it's a tight budget anyway, so I mean it's probably and not the right time with all the budget issues and all of that, but it is certainly an issue, at least in this area. So I'm sure it's going on other places, but that's all I had.
Nick, I'm happy to jump in real quick on that point. And it's good timing because so essentially the brand board which is the brand division, operates as an enterprise. So it operates fully off of the fees generated from the industry and not from state general fund money. It can receive up to 10% of its full budget from general fund, but everything else has to come from fees. So we're actually working with Todd Ingley right now, our brands commissioner, on what do the out years look like, because we know we're coming up on a budget crunch and we know we got to make sure we're doing what we can to keep great people on board. But any burden, any change or any growth in our revenue will have to come from industry and from the producers. So that's the kind of the crunch on both sides. That's just to say the brand board is the entity that takes up this question, not the Ag Commission. But for those of you livestock producers on the board or listening in, I strongly encourage you to work with or attend brand board meetings. Happy to connect you to folks if you want to be part of that discussion about how do we manage going forward if and when fee increases are necessary to keep our staff and to keep, having people in the field. What would that impact look like? All those questions with regards to fees. So I just encourage you all to stay in touch with the brand board. Happy to facilitate that as well. And then Nick, I also want to mention on screwworm. I didn't get into it today. New World screwworm, a pest that we've had for a long time, not in the US though, but recently discovered in Mexico. And so the border was closed immediately to livestock movement north of the border. Happy to provide a deeper briefing on that at our January meeting. No new news for you all today, but I know that's something we're all keeping close tabs on.
Yeah, that'd be great if we could get doesn't have to be too elaborate, but anything on the screwworm thing, because USDA just really hasn't. It seems like there's a lot of bad information out there and lack of information out there. So that'd be great.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. Roberto, are you on?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Simon. Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Sorry for being late and missing last month's meeting. I had a really great opportunity to go to Mexico last minute and be with my family for about 8 days, and it was just so fulfilling and so great. So I apologize for missing our meeting last month. I just got out of a Food is Medicine conference, so I'm happy I'm able to at least join you for this last part of our meeting this month. It's really great to kind of bring in a ag voice into a room that very much is focused on the Medicaid waivers and food insecurity measures, and how we're all going to wrestle with some of the changes that are coming, and to be part of that conversation and say, like, we have farmers in our own state that can be an ally in a lot of this work was really great. I did hear a few echoes here and there of folks that were referencing local agriculture, Colorado producers, which was really, really nice seeing that this evolving conversation is incorporating more of those voices. Last week, I believe, or maybe 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity and joined Tyler Garrett from RMFU in a conversation with legislators at Mapleton schools to talk about the LFP opportunities that we can really advocate for to support more farmers' products coming into schools and cafeterias, and the technical assistance that our partners are providing, not just to farmers, but also to school districts in understanding the value, the variety, and the opportunities that exist in sourcing locally. It was really great to kind of present with him and to really share a vision of how a farm to school movement can really be an impactful endeavor for Colorado ag and really for a lot of communities and for generations to come. I guess on another note, we were kind of in this space of uncertainty with our warehouse and finding stable infrastructure. I haven't shared this with a lot of folks, but our landlord decided to leave after his 10-year master lease ended, and he wasn't very communicative in the beginning in terms of what the transition was going to look like. Or initially, he said that we were going to purchase the building, and we could have done it with him. And then last minute, he pulled out and left us with taking over the lease assignment, which raised our rent about $6,000, and that it became really apparent that we couldn't carry that. So thankfully, we found another space that will be moving in the 1st of January. With this is really a godsend. It's a blessing. Everything is refrigerated, and it's exactly the scale that we need. And yeah, I'm just so appreciative of how it came into our hands. So we're safe there, but it was really starting to take an emotional toll on us, on our team, to find a stable space and facility for our operations. Let's see. Other than that, I've been really grateful to have connected a little bit more directly with Susan Enfield and talking about regenerative agriculture and the marketing and the branding behind that and certifications, and sharing with her like what we're hearing from institutional customers. I think the climate smart commodities opportunity has been really great, and there's been a lot of lessons learned, and I think that there's still a lot of room for conversation that can help incorporate producers at different scales. And so we're going to continue the conversation to really look at how her time right now at CDA can be most effective in building something long term and really kind of streamlining this incredible opportunity that we have to help support the transition in agriculture to more regenerative practices. So I'm excited to kind of share a little bit more about what we're hearing and how our producers are coming in to advocate for that as well, and seeing how CDA can really be a partner moving forward as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. All right, looks like I'm the last one here. Is Elena on?
Elena's not on, but
Okay.
I think Catherine.
Catherine? She did go, I believe.
Oh, she did. Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
ma'am. Okay. I'll go ahead and go here. I'll start on a personal note. Our flight was kind of delayed, and connecting flights coming back. I spent a few days in St. Louis, Missouri with Jace, our 13-year-old son, that found a event that he wanted to go to a few months back. And as everybody knows, time flies. So it came up and we went, and it was the Gateway National Finals at the Dome at America Center in St. Louis, and got back last night, and we had a good time. I always say probably could have found a race a little closer to home, but it was good. So back on the business note, we've been shipping our 24 wheat pretty regularly out of here, and our 24 alfalfa and oat hay is continuing to be moving out. Prices are down from last year, but luckily our customer base has stayed strong, and we are able to ship 20 plus loads a week, which helps us with our bottom line and bringing revenue in. The cattle sales, I'll be redundant with everybody, the prices, we do most of our sales this month, and the pricing was up this year and was last year. So that was a good thing because you kind of tie that in with the commodity prices that we're seeing. They've been low all year. I did see a little spike in the corn here recently, but it's still low. I think everybody can see that that's kind of happening throughout the state. So we're done with our yellow, and we've hit some 300 and was averaging some 280. So I think a lot of that has to do with the climate and time management. that we were able to get in and out of the fields when we needed to. So it looks like our yields are going to be fairly good, very good on our yellow. We're in the middle of harvesting our blue corn, and this is kind of the first time in probably 4 years that we've been able to grow our own blue corn on site with some seed that we got out of Kentucky, which everything we grow is non-GMO, so it's harder to find the blue. The yellow doesn't seem to be an issue, the non-GMO or the white. But right now we're hitting real close. We'll finish up tomorrow on our blue. It's going to average around 200 bushel. So that's good for us, especially we haven't been able to grow any for about 4 years. We've had to source it in, and it's been a lot on the expensive side, but the mill, one of their main commodities is the blue corn. The white's going to be around 180, it looks like. So we'll be out of corn harvest hopefully before Christmas break, and we'll continue getting ready for next year. One thing we are going to try that we haven't done before is leave some cattle on site through next summer. So we're looking at some teff grass that we can maybe bale and then put the cattle on it and leave about 155 pair on site. It's a little warmer here. Few weeks out of the year it gets up to 100, but I think we can I think it'd be an advantage to Farm and Ranch financially, not to have the cost to get the cattle in and out of our area back to the high country. So we're gonna give that a shot. We are working on some grant funding opportunities, are getting close. I'll keep the board abreast on that hopefully the first of next year we'll have some money available to replace some isolation valves and some pivots that are 20+ years old, along with our telemetry system and the way we chemigate and fertilize our fields from the delivery box instead of having to drive in to the pivot point. Bow and Arrow, they are staying busy. They loaded a pneumatic truck today going into Salt Lake. They'll have another one going into Wyoming. So I see more and more the pneumatic industry picking up for them. So we've got to probably reassess how we load pneumatic trucks compared to either on trailers or into totes. So that's something that we'll be working on. And I believe at this time that's about it on my end down here in Southwest Colorado. Okay, does anybody else have anything to add to this meeting today? Okay, seeing none, it looks like our next meeting will be virtual, January 15th, Wednesday, 12:30 to 3. I know we're getting done a little early today, so we can continue on our day, and we will have the discussion next meeting on the dates for our March meeting here in Southwest Colorado. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, everybody have a nice, happy holiday season and New Year, and we'll all be in touch.
So Simon,
Thanks, y'all.
quick question. Do we have to
Yes.
motion to adjourn?
We do.
Okay.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
This is David, I move we adjourn.
Oh, David, I move we adjourn.
All right, I'll second that.
Okay, seeing that we have a first and a second, all in favor say aye.
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 And I don't know if they'll be all opposed, say the same. Seeing none, we'll end this meeting, and thank you, everybody.
See you in the
Thanks.
new year.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
holidays,
you.
everyone.
Good job with your first meeting, Simon.
Thank you. Thank you for being patient with me today.
You did good.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Simon.
Thank you,
Thank you all.
Simon.
Guys.